This is the brand new ball for the World Cup. It's called the adidas Rihla, and in today's video I'll tell you what's new about it and, more importantly, what it's like to play with and whether it's worth 140 euros or not. I'm JayMike and this is my review of the Rihla. Well, let's start at the beginning with the story, where Adidas have taken inspiration for the panel shape by looking at Qatar's flag with all the little triangles. But actually, they've also looked to sails on dhows, which is a type of boats, as a reference to Qatar's seafaring history. Now, of course, they've dialed up on the colors because colors evoke emotion and they reference all the different nations taking part in the World Cup. And finally, there is the name, Rihla. Now, Rihla means journey in Arabic, but it might also refer to the travelogue describing that journey. And that's a cool little name for a ball that will itself be part of many teams' journeys throughout the tournament. So they've thought about it. But a cool story will only get you so far. Like always though, Adidas have researched a lot in order to update and upgrade the tech compared to the Telstar 18. That means a new bladder and carcass on the inside of the ball for better rebound and consistency, but also a new panel design called Speed Cell. It's basically these 20 diamond-shaped panels, 12 big and 8 small ones, that not only take inspiration from the story I just told you about, but apparently also means that the new shape, meaning the longer edges here, gives you a better flight stability on the ball itself. That's cool though, but actually the big work has been done on the texture on the upper itself. See, back in 2006 and to some extent 2010, the Team Geist and the Jabulani had really smooth surfaces, and when a ball like this moves through the air, there's not much on the ball that the air can grip onto and attach itself to, so it'll just bend around the ball and then continue in a straight line behind the back on both sides. And that will create a sort of vacuum behind the ball that sucks or drags a bit on the ball, thus slowing it down. Now, the thing is that when you have a football then with a really dimpled and uneven surface, the air will then attach itself, grip onto the ball, get closer to the ball and get dragged around it much further down the back, meaning that the vacuum is a lot smaller and that reduces the drag and the pulling, meaning that you lose less speed. I know it's a super simplified version of what happens, but it's the same concept as what goes on with a golf ball. And they worked a lot on that. So in other words, the upper and the texture on the upper means a whole lot when it comes to how the ball moves. And after some serious, rigorous testing, Adidas found that they got the best consistency when they went with this almost golf ball-like micro texturing with all these little dimples in the shape of little diamonds. But as you can maybe see, they also have these little arrow-shaped debossed zones scattered around the ball. And apparently, out of 50 or so shots, the Rihla had a much smaller spread compared to the Telstar 18, basically saying that the balls hit more or less the same spot more often than the predecessor did. Oh, and now that we're comparing, the Rihla is also a lot more sustainable than the Telstar 18. There's a lot less material waste, and it uses water-based ink, water-based glue, water-based polyurethane, amongst other things. And that's awesome. Sustainability rocks. But how does all of this new tech feel to play with then? Well, if you played with one of the newer Adidas balls, it will feel somewhat similar and still have this unique sensation to it, because Rihla does feel soft and quite spongy, but still really responsive when you strike it. And I'd say it's a bit more easy and elegant to the feel compared to, for instance, a Nike Flight. Now, the biggest difference for me, the most unique thing, is the grip, because it is grippy and I would say like sticky, but not in the same way as the Telstar or the Unisport or the Champions League balls that have this really gritty and grainy micro texture, whereas this is a bit more smooth. But since the coating has this matte stickiness to it, you still got a very well-balanced grip that gives me confidence that the ball isn't just gonna slip away at the lightest touch. But what I really like about the Rihla is the way it moves, because it feels more stable and I want to say more controllable compared to the Unifuria. Now, it's still a really fast ball and can definitely move if you hit it with enough power and the right technique, but it just feels like it takes a little bit more to activate that craziness. And that extra reliability and reassurance that the ball does what you ask it to, but with a little bit of speed and flair on top is a really cool thing, especially when you consider the softness and the fact that when you put some power behind the Rihla, it just takes off. So adidas have hit a sweet spot where it's reliable, but in an entertaining way. I like that. It's a good ball. But the Rihla isn't perfect, so here are a few annoying things you need to know about before you rush out and buy it. For me, the panel shape has taken a little bit getting used to because it feels slightly different when you hit the small panels that are surrounded by the firmer grooves here compared to the big panels that just feel softer and more even. And the price is high. Now, I understand why it has to be, but just something you need to know. A lot of money. And finally, it's a bit of a preference thing, but the sensation of playing with the Rihla feels like it doesn't have as much power and body as the Flight or the Brilliant Super. It feels, you can hear it, just a little bit pingy. Now, I'm not mad at it, not a deal breaker, but it just bugs me a little. Because all in all, this is a Rihla good ball. That was terrible, I apologize. But it just has that nice familiarity to it while there's enough new stuff to make it exciting, and it's just cool to play with because it is a good football. Is it worth 140 euros though? Well, for me, I like the best of the best, so I would say yes, but in the end, it's up to you. But if you dig it, you want it, you can get it from Unisport.com via the link right over there. But before you do that, make sure you've subscribed to the channel with the notifications on. And then when you've bought the ball, you can come back, check out the playlist right down there to learn how to improve as a footballer. With those words, I'll be signing off. Cheerio.